welcome everyone to another episode of the BBC. This is BBC episode 39, Domain and Settlement Selection, Discussion, and Q&A. How's everyone doing tonight? Renegade, can you hear me okay?
I can.
D, how are you?
I think I'm all right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We may even have some audio guests pop in. Mel Bluebell is back. She's still working on that moving stuff, but she's joining us in voice, and Alexander's here as well. Hey, you guys.
Hey, guys.
So,
how's it going?
Yep, we're excited to be here. I think Dee's got some stuff to talk about. There's been some developments, and domain and settlement selection has been delayed again. It is what it is. There's been a post put out by SBS, what their intentions are moving forward. I think there's some good news in there for us all to be excited about. Yeah, how you guys doing?
I'm excited about just the images, like always, because I'm a nerd for it, but it's just me. I'm easy to excite.
D, what about you?
I have to say I'm obviously excited that domain and settlement selection is around the corner. Not excited and certainly less than thrilled as to how it's being rolled out, or rather not rolled out. This is kind of like a flagship event. In fact, probably, obviously map selection was a big event, but the Lost Vault was a good event, but it wasn't for me like a big event, right? Like same with the Searing Plague. It was kind of like, a decent event. It got community involvement going and everything like that, but it's not as kind of like affecting the communities as much as domain and settlement selection. This is the biggest event that they've had up till now. And when I say had, I guess we've yet to start it. And, I think there's looking at the forums, listening to people talking in the official Discord, looking at people chatting in our own Kingdom Discord and everything like that. People are less than thrilled with what's been happening with the dates and everything like that. I mean, whereas it wasn't stated that domain and settlement selection would come out right after Christmas, the comment that Caspian made stating that domain and settlement selection would not be done over the holidays because people, were going to be traveling, they're going to be with family and everything like that, was at the very least an implication of that fact. And, here we are kind of like middle of May, and we still don't have it. And, when it was pointed out, I'm not quite sure, what's going on. I have a little bit of concern as to how they're managing the expectations at the moment and interacting with the community. When one of our members mentioned that in the official COE Discord that Caspian had said that, that it was ready around about November, basically he was called a liar by one of the devs there at on the Discord. And, the accompanying, they found the screenshot of Caspian making that statement, and it's I don't think the wheels are coming off, the cart or anything like that, but it's, they need to get their shit together in this particular regard. I think we all know that it's a very, very ambitious project. I think we have a very mature and understanding community that understands that it's going to take quite a while to get done, that there will be kind of like stumbling blocks in development. But you don't have to give, and sorry for rambling, I'll try and wrap it up, but, when it comes to dates, you got three options. You can not give dates at all. You can give hard dates which are false, and you can give hard dates which are true. And obviously you can't give no hard dates, because you can't say, oh, by the way, guys, for those of you that didn't realize it, domain and settlement selection started 3 weeks ago. So obviously you have to give a date. And dates are only generated for an event, right? You give a date when there's going to be the Searing Plague. You give a date when there's going to be the Lost Vault or the Free Kingdom event or a Kickstarter anniversary or a promotion or map voting, etc. So the opportunities to give dates are a constant. But so for me personally, having been in kind of like sales and marketing all my life, it's an ongoing error. It's a pattern. I think we all can excuse one or two missed dates or deadlines if the other ones are okay, but I think they're starting to lose the community based upon what I've seen. And it's of concern to me because we're crowdfunded. We need this crowdfunding. We need to support the studio. We need to be enthusiastic. We need to be hyped. We need to be pumped. And you can create the hype in other ways other than giving dates that you can't meet. You can't give a date in December, and though no hard date was given in December, you can't say, oh, hey, we're not doing it over the holidays, therefore the implication is we'll do it right after, and then again, and be where we're at in the situation that we're at with several delays. But I'll shut up to let other people chime in. And obviously, those of you viewing, please chime in chat and everything like that.
Yeah, I think it's good that we get the unpleasantries out of the way first. But no, I agree with you. There's even been some that have said, they heard us and they came, and Caspian did come in the voice chat with several hundred people from what I heard the other night. And he finally agreed to push the date back. And so everyone's saying, it's good now, everything's fine. We're not pushing hard dates anymore. But it was said on May 19th, exactly 1 year ago, 2018, my official answer to all questions related to dates, as of yesterday and henceforth going forward, is it'll happen when it's ready, and when the work is done and we're happy with it, we'll announce a pre-scheduled release date. So I don't know. It's been said before. It's been done before, but we keep finding ourselves in this situation. I was telling someone today that, a little over a year ago when I was a super mod, I was pushing hard because things needed to change in the way that they release and talk about certain things with the community. And I wish they would have taken our concerns, into consideration sooner. But hey, if this is it, if this is a turning point, and we're going to start focusing on the importance of the community, and it's not, people are having a hard time understanding, why are they potentially, why are they okay with these delays? And for me personally, I think that it doesn't really bother them much because it stretches out their current sprint and helps them maximize on profits for that particular sprint. So it's not really hurting them. But I feel like what it's doing, like you just alluded to, D, is it's starting to cut into their core support because people are starting to lose faith in the project overall. And that's when it becomes really bad, right? So we're hoping that they're going to start listening to us this time and say, hey, we can't help build this community that you need to help crowdfund this project if you keep over promising and under delivering, and we tell people to show up to participate in an event, and then it's check back in 6 months. You can't build a community that way, and they need us to continue building people and getting people interested in our communities in order to be successful. So I hope this is a turning point, and we don't revisit this again in another year. So
I think
sorry, go ahead, Renegade.
With that, just to shed a little light on how project management kind of usually goes, is there's kind of three aspects of it. There's your cost, time, and scope, and if you're going to switch one of them, the other two is going to be impacted, and they don't want to compromise their scope. And cost, they don't have an unlimited budget. So the thing that usually gets pushed back is time. It'll take more time. So what they really just need to be more critical of is their schedule management And I think they could do that by just don't give a date until you're in QA, because once you're in QA, at least you have a functioning product. And they just get really excited. And who wouldn't get really excited if you could go play the game that we've all been waiting for?
And they get excited about this too. Don't get me wrong. And people are saying, why are they doing this? This is so stupid. But you have to understand that Caspian, I personally believe, is just super hyper excited about this project as well. And he's so passionate about it. He gets involved and, takes some of the negative criticism to heart and says things that a CEO of this company shouldn't be saying, because it, his passionate displays are seen in the wrong light by some. And, you kind of got to, you got to make everybody happy as best you can. You can't give, people ammunition to say, oh my God, he just threatened us to shut the whole thing down. You can't do that, man. You got to take it in stride and keep marching and be positive, if you want us to be.
Yeah, they can communicate with us so rapidly on Discord and any other social media that they kind of forget that you don't need to show us what goes into the sausage when you're making it, because a lot of us are going to get disgusted by it and a lot of us won't understand. And everybody's so excited and so desperate for anything. And Caspian gets such a good response when he gives something to the community, even that we're reinforcing for them to give us something, even if it's wrong. And they're reinforcing to us to just, ask for it because we'll give it to you.
Yeah, we want to see what goes into making the sausage. Only certain parts of it, not all of it, because some of it's disgusting, right? But we don't need to see all of it. Just show us the really cool stuff. And then, once it's ready and you have a product that's ready to ship, don't tell us it's about to be ours until you put a fancy wrapper on it. Take the time to market it properly, and put a fancy bow on it, and then tell us when we can come to the market and pick it up, right? So we
get excited for Christmas. Give us our toy now.
Mel, what have you been thinking about all this stuff since you've been away for a while? You come back and it's another another fire to put out here and there, and all the fun stuff going on.
Well, I've had the advantage of I've been completely focused on packing up my entire life to move to the West Coast. So when they pushed, initially when they pushed the date back, I was like, oh no, that's when I'm going to be driving for 4 days. And then, so I actually really wasn't upset when they kind of pushed it again, because now I won't be in the middle of driving when domain and settlement comes along. So I'm really just kind of going with the flow, rolling with the punches on this one. I'm not overly fussed about it. Now, if I move and I have no internet for a little while I'm getting it set up, that might be frustrating. But for the most part, I'm really just kind of, I've got so much stuff going on right now that it's not phasing me.
Well, yeah. Well, it's obviously definitely phasing us, because I know you're preoccupied at the moment, and I wish we were, but we're still focused on building our community for COE, and it's difficult to do that with delays and timelines being pushed back, and
for sure, yeah.
So for us, and for most of the people that are participating in domain and settlement selection, they're the highest tier backers, and they're those people that are out there every day cheerleading for COE, trying to convince people to come in and participate in this idea of COE, because that's essentially all we have right now is an idea, right? So we're still selling the idea, but when we tell people there's an opportunity to come and be a part of something that's never been done before, and how we're changing the landscape of the game before we even get into it, and then they come in and they look at it and they see all this
very unhappy people,
this mess, they're like, no, I'm not interested. So that hurts us, and we're trying to help them. So we need them to help us help them. Make it easier for us to recruit, not difficult, right?
Yeah, so. And it is a symbiotic relationship. We kind of we need each other. I mean, the catalyst, the spark of that was obviously Caspian. And I think that, I think it needs to be understood that, at least from my point of view, and I'm just speaking for myself personally right now, and not kind of like for our community of Bordweall or anything like that, but for myself, Caspian is, I mean, he's got an amazing fucking vision of what he wants with this game. I mean, MMOs have been out now for 20 years, 22, 25 years, whatever it is, and basically to come up with something that is of the size and the scope and the ambition and everything like that COE entails is pretty fucking phenomenal. I mean, I don't think that we should lose sight of that fact. I don't think that we should lose sight of the fact that, and for want of a better word, the poor fucker pours his heart into this, right? I mean, I can't imagine the hours that the guy does. He's frequently interacting with the community on Discord, etc., etc. I mean, these things are brilliant, but the management in terms of community expectations is piss poor. That's the only way to phrase it. And all of those good things, all of those amazing kind of like far-reaching things that we want to see and we want to have and we want to transpire, I would hate to see kind of like sabotaged almost by shooting themselves in the foot with not being able to manage community expectations, kind of thing, and that's kind of like my biggest concern. I mean, it's up to them how they do their business model and their plans, and I mean, it's their business, but we don't have to build the car. If we're driving and we feel something going clackety clackety clack, we can say, hey, there's something wrong here, and you take it to the mechanic, and though you're not the expert and you don't have the knowledge that the mechanic has, you can say, you know what, this car ain't driving right, and if I keep driving it and it keeps going clackety clackety clack, it's probably going to break down. And it's better to be preemptive on these situations. And hopefully, I wasn't there for the voice meeting that Caspian had. I heard that it was kind of like it started off kind of like, as the peasants with the pitchforks ready to burn him at the stake, and that it kind of like it changed around, and that it actually ended up being a very, very positive interchange, and that actually Caspian changed and modified the forum thread that he had made about the delay. And it's funny because people were so pissed on the initial threads that Vi had put up, etc., and downvoted, where there was, it's a week, it's going to be another week, and obviously that didn't happen again, even after it was delayed the first time. And yet Caspian has come out, and when he took that date off and explained what's going on and what's happening, it's like it has a whole bunch of plus votes. I forget what it's at. I don't know if it was at 40 or 60 or whatever. And it can show that, this is an opportunity to change kind of like that culture of community expectations. People want to support this game. People want to give money. People want to see it come to reality. But God, don't make it difficult for us to give you money, kind of thing is, I guess, what it boils down to.
Hopefully they can keep that pattern up, because it really was them listening to the community and like taking an action on it to show, hey, we're listening. And I think that was kind of a first for a lot of people in the community to see a response from them.
But it's not really, is it? It's like Noslin mentioned earlier. I mean, it was basically a year ago, if you go back to that image that he posted, where Caspian said that they won't give these hard dates until something is ready. And so, we've had this discussion before. I just hope that and it's unfortunate that there was so much backlash, but I just hope that the backlash was enough to kind of like to be a little bit of a kind of like just a little reality check,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be
Let's-
left wondering
Sorry, go
for a
ahead.
bit. I said I'd rather be left, almost kind of wondering what's up for, a period of time rather than, get excited and then be disappointed. Like it's much easier for me to kind of, wait and see and hear what things are going on. And then, so I'm really happy with their announcement that they're going to be taking their time and making things, functional before announcing dates now.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's asking for them to rush anything. Nobody's asking for them to do anything quicker. But just imagine what the difference if the experience had been that, wow, day one, there's a map. We all get to see it. We all get excited. We all start picking. People are planning. People are this. Where right now, there's kind of like almost like a deflated feeling, at least certainly in parts of our community. And we all put in hard work to build these communities and keep these communities pumped and hyped, obviously for ourselves, but also for COE. And it's I think we want to move on because, as I say, I'm not wanting to bash on Soulbound Studios or any individual there. I still believe as passionately as ever that the game will come out. I don't want to hear hard dates and then have the little boy who cried wolf freaking fucking telling me over and over, seriously, there's a wolf up there. It's done, Okay, let's move on. Noz, I think you had some images, and
Yeah,
we'll let Renegade and yourself go with images.
I was going to put the post up, and I don't know if you want to talk through some of this, Ren, but if you want to, you're more than happy to.
Well, duh.
Yeah, I know you do, right? So I got the post up now. That's the post that Caspian put up, and it had originally the date change, the most recent date change in it. But after that talk in the Discord, they went back
Where
and
they pulled it
edited
down, yeah.
And so at the very top, they got the edit and how it's been updated to reflect those changes of Caspian reaching out to the community and talking with them. But yeah, fire away. I'll scroll through if you want to talk about any of this.
Can you go to the one where it's like the little user interface for like claiming? I think it's claiming a settlement because it's not. It looks like it's claiming a settlement. It's the one with the claim button on it. Because there's a lot to kind of unpack on that, which is what I thought was really cool. So first of all, looking at it, just to go through it, it's the settlement placeholder number. It gives the primary industry, which, yay, we don't have to guess what symbols mean because that was a concern of mine. It then lists the two constructions, which I think is really interesting here because that's a well and a tavern, which directly relate to the size of the settlement. So it's like well, tavern, town hall. I don't remember the middle one, and then a monument for hamlet, village, town, city, capital. So, but if you take those two things, so that would indicate...
a courthouse.
Yes, that's what it is. But if you take those two things, that would indicate that that's a village. But if you jump down a little bit, it says estimated population 38 to 90, which is a huge range, by the way. Based on the numbers they had originally given us, that could be anywhere from a hamlet or a village to a city, depending on if you're going up or down on that size scale. Because I think a village is 75, a city is 150. Or sorry, a town is 75, a city is 150, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, and a village is like 25.
We're going to assume this is on the lower end.
Yeah, but it's a big, like 60, a variation population of 60 people is a big variation. Like, well, even if they're saying it's a village.
Maybe what that is to say is that, for this particular area, you could potentially increase this particular settlement to 90 residents, and it would sustain those residents. Anything higher than that, you're going to have to, bring imports in to sustain that population. Maybe that's a hint as to how big you could potentially grow it in this area.
That's a really good point. I had not thought about that. But there is like this sustainability bar. It's a word, I swear, at the top, which I wonder if the lower that is, the smaller that range is. But
yeah,
and then
I would imagine as you got closer to 90 here, that sustainability bar wouldn't be so green; it'd be mostly red, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's a little hard to guess because I'm guessing this is a wireframe, so maybe not an actual picture. It could be an actual picture of the website, but I'm guessing it's a wireframe like mock-up because of biomes. There's nothing there. There's estimated size 0. I don't know what that means, but again, that's why I think it's a wireframe. It's not a real thing. And then I think it's roads, sand, maybe. Clay is the one on the end, and high ground. That's got to be high ground. Yeah, right? Maybe. But it's extra sandy, so I would guess that this was a desert. But it's wealthy, which I wonder, they haven't really given us a lot of understanding of what wealth is. Like, is that measured in resources? Is that measured in a currency? We haven't found it yet. And then I really don't like that interface for tribes. It's very hard to tell if that's like squished or like, are these percentages out of 100? Is this there's no, they're just comparisons to each other. So if the population is 30 people, that's like one more of them is a Kipik than the rest of them or something to that effect. So I wish there was
you're saying that, depending on the numbers of actual people in that settlement, that overall highest ratio could change very easily by 3 people, right?
Yeah, it's very hard to see it, to derive any information from a chart that has no labels. If you don't have labels on it, it's very hard. Is this percentages? Is this account? Is this, what is it? And how easily can that shift when I put 60 additional people into the settlement?
I'm going to switch it off of the display capture because you're making all these beautiful gestures, and so I want our audience to not miss that.
Oh,
so
you want them to make fun of me? All right, thank you.
Yeah.
This is me trying to explain how charts have to have labels, because if they don't have labels, they don't mean anything. You just chop off the bottom of a chart and it's whatever. And then they go into professions, which I think this is the judge, jury, and executioner city, apparently. Wait, they don't have a jury. It's just a judge. But this sounds very weird that their primary industry is textiles, but then it's bookbinding, investigator, moneylender, executioner, and judge are their top professions out of the 30, 40 people who live there, because we have 3 executioners and 2 judges, and then one of everybody else. So I think this is really cool information that they have in here, but I don't think they actually selected something and showed us. I think it's more of them showing us what they want it to look like without it actually being real data. So some of this might be off. It might not be finished. I can't quite tell.
It may just be a placeholder. I mean, this may be an example of something we would actually see, and it may, I don't know, it may just be, data that they threw in for the purposes of illustration. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
So, Alec, what are your thoughts on what we can potentially see once they release the maps here in the next day or so? Maybe, hopefully, we're all still crossing our fingers.
Oh goodness. I'm just hoping to see it, and I don't really care what it looks like. I want to be able to tell where the actual counties are, which is my main focus is trying to figure out where the counties are, what the county borders look like, and where they fall in within the duchies. Because right now we're still using kind of our not quite but possible mock-ups to guesstimate.
So you don't have any concerns with the data that we're seeing right here.
But with the data here, I agree. With Negate here, the bar graph is not very informative. And that's a really, really large difference between minimum and maximum estimated population.
I think he is probably right, though. That's probably up to what it can support. Because they did say there would be some settlements that just wouldn't be able to support all the people you want to put in it, and it's something you'd need to be aware of, and that they tell us about it.
Yep.
I bet these are actual pictures of the resources and we'll see that again, but I bet the rest is placeholder information. I want to know what the scale is, if it's from like destitute to like extreme wealth extreme riches.
And I
for
agree
that
with you
wealth
as
bar.
well. It's like how are they gauging wealth?
Yeah.
So what else do we have in this announcement? Because it's pretty long. We've got the sample terrain tile, and then what you skipped on to. Anything else in here that we need to point out? Take a look at. Looks like some website snippets here of what we can expect to see. Very similar to map selection.
I was excited to see that we would be allowed to actually like look at everybody's. And I'm really hoping that when they open it up, they let everybody go look at it at the same time, even if you can't claim. Kind of like, like the way they did last name, surname reservation. Like you could go play with the generator before you could claim. And I'm hoping they do that.
Yeah, I just had to switch back because you're talking with your hands again. Yeah,
sorry.
That's what we all want to see, right? We want to see all the fires of people and their dreams get melted away live as it happens, right? I know that's what Dee's looking forward to.
I want to like just sit with the map and just like gush over places. It doesn't even have to be our map. It would probably be Oceana's map would be the really fun one to gush over. But like even looking at the terrain height, and I think that was what the black and white one is. It's just so cool. Like you can see the formation of riverbeds, or what I would assume are riverbeds. I'm not 100% sure how this works with like tectonics, because they did talk about like how that was kind of an influence for stuff, but I think with biomes are kind of their plate tectonics maybe, which is why you see those like region divides, like the mountains and the rivers between the big biome switches. But it's very natural looking, and you can see it in the pixel one too. Like it's not just long sweeping coastlines with not a lot of like, I guess filigree would be the word I would use, but I know that's not the right one. Like finicky little bits.
You don't have long, never-ending expanses of featureless terrain. It looks like it's peppered in really good. You're going to have some hills and some rivers scattered all throughout your domain. It looks like, which has been a big concern for a lot of people. With
just flat, forever
wanting navigable rivers, and it looks like we're going to see plenty of that in some areas, maybe not so much in others, but I've got the actual coastal Illyria picture up now, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and the fact he even said like the pixel is a parcel, so like to that level you can be like, I am gonna live here. My count is already picked. My mayor's picked. I'm going to specifically ask him, can I have like this parcel? And that's the level of detailed planning that is really, really exciting. And I think the coastline picture even has like a tiny island, like one parcel island or something like that way in there, which I think is really funny. But there's one island and it's one parcel big.
All right. So I'm going back. We're going to go through this post. Like I said, it was long and detailed. Oh, no, it was not long and detailed. Apparently the responses to it were long and detailed. But yeah, so that's it, right? That's about it.
I think so.
We'll be giving you all regular updates to the process with images and other snippets of our progress so you can track where we are as we push close to the finish line. So, there's been talk, I think part of the conversation we were going to have, Dee, was what does this mean for us? With the delays, they have said that they're going to come out and they're going to actually release the map. They're going to release the website as it comes up, with the understanding that we're not going to be able to select anything right away, but that as soon as we possibly can, we'll actually get to see some of those areas that we've been so anxiously awaiting on the maps, and be able to start planning. So that was a big concern for some people, was that they weren't going to have the time to do the planning that they thought that they were initially going to do because of the delays. But with them rolling out the website once it's complete, not necessarily opening it up for selection, but rolling it out once we can actually start looking at it. That'll give those people that opportunity again to start planning and looking at things.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when you're looking at it in this kind of detail, and remember that, we're going to get the fantasy map style. We're not going to get it kind of like down to that pixel level, actually, that Renegade was mentioning, where, that's the parcel I want to live on. Because what they're showing there is how they're procedurally generating the maps and how it's being rendered. But for the map picking, that's kind of like being translated into a fantasy map style, so that we don't have that down to the pixel detail, because you wouldn't have a need for cartographers anymore if it's that accurate, right?
Yeah.
Everybody would just kind of like make basically stitch these together and make like a large Google Earth image of the continent. And yeah, sure, some settlements might come, some might go, but the rivers are basically going to stay consistent, as are the mountains, etc., etc. So I like the idea that they're going to do it on that fantasy map style kind of thing. I actually support that, and I think that that's a good move.
I just wanted to challenge Renegade because if come on,
I got ahead of myself. Okay.
So you mentioned one pixel per one parcel per pixel. I'm gonna have to ask our viewing audience to correct me if I'm wrong here. Isn't it 4 parcels per pixel?
The original one was. The zoomed in one Caspian showed us later was 1-to-1.
Okay, so I don't know, whatever. So the one we'll actually see in domain and settlement selection, I don't think anyone knows what level that's going to be, but yeah, my understanding was, the original ones was 1 pixel is 4 parcels, and a parcel is 64 by 64 meters.
Okay.
What scared me there in you saying that was, wait, it shrunk again?
Because No. They zoomed the map in. I think it'll actually be substantially larger, the ability to zoom in, but because it's going to be this.
Well, I mean, we've had some shrinkages, so.
Yeah, no. I think that's the cold weather, but. I think you're getting confused with parcels and plots, Noz.
Are they not the same thing?
Well, no. When they were selling the seeds, did they not say, people were saying, there's enough seeds in there to sow a plot or a field or whatever it was they used. I've forgotten the exact name, but that there were 4 of them per. They're 32 meters by 32 meters. That there would be enough seeds to kind of like sow a plot of land that large, kind of thing,
Yeah, I mean, because that's a big piece of land to maintain farming with like hand tools and oxen.
Yep.
But
it is an acre. So
I do have this image that I think Nim originally created. It's been shared around the community. I picked it up and did some research on it, and come to find out, Nim actually created it. I think it's a brilliant little image that was put together. But did you want to touch on some of the average county sizes and what we originally thought and what we're actually looking at? I'd be happy to throw that up as well.
Well, I think the main thing is, and again, I think we're all aware again that the game is in development and things are subject to change, etc., etc. I think when we were first looking at the kind of like at the kingdoms, there were going to be 3 to 5 kingdoms per server, and then there was a variable number of duchies. I think it was 5 to 8, and then the number of counties per duchy was going to vary between 8 to 64 or 16 to 64. I've forgotten which of those lower numbers was the correct one. But
I want to say it was 8.
Yeah, the number that stuck in my mind, and maybe I'm mistaken on this, but the number that stuck in my mind on that was that Caspian was stating that, some counties will be as large as, 16 kilometers by 16 kilometers, and others might just be 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, and it'll vary greatly. And, however, they'll average out, the average size of a county will be 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers, which obviously comes out to 16 kilometers squared. Well, looking at that image that Nim made, we were just looking at our what am I trying to say? We were looking at our kingdom, obviously, and we calculated out the number of parcels and the sizes and everything like that. And it turns out the average county, and we're the third largest, we're by no means a small kingdom, that the average size of a county in our kingdom is 2.75 by 2.75 kilometers, which, if you square that out, I think it came to 8.25 square kilometers, which is actually half the size of what had been previously said of 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers. And maybe that 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers, somebody correct me if that changed somewhere along the way and was reduced to 3 by 3 or something like that,
It was always 3 by 3 in my head, but I think it was because I just equated it to other server sizes in other games.
And you mentioned third largest kingdom on our server. We're almost virtually in a dead heat with second largest. So, the second and third are practically the same size. I mean, just a couple thousand pixels apart. So, for us, we would have assumed that, being one of the larger kingdoms on the map, that, even if 3 by 3 was the latest, greatest, hottest thing on the market, we'd assume that we'd be at least that, but we're not. So that was a little, disconcerting, maybe a little discouraging for me. I was hoping we'd have a little more land, but I just don't want to feel like we're constantly downsizing,
Well, of concern to me is that if you've got a county whose average size is 2.75 kilometers by 2.75 kilometers, right? And I start to kind of just do a little bit of the math here, and I'm not a mathematician or a statistician, so please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I take the 2.75 kilometers and I divide it by the 64 meters, and that gives you 42 parcels on average wide and 42 parcels high, right? Well, if you've got a let's say a capital city, and that is that's a minimum of 250 parcels, 250, somebody help me out with the math here, I'm not good on that, but I mean, that's got to be
you're doing good.
That's got to be 14, 15 parcels by 15 parcels. That thing takes up, I wouldn't say, almost all the county or something, but it's taking up a good quarter size of the county. Where the hell are you going to fit all your other settlements and hamlets and everything like that in there?
But I mean, in all fairness, we have heard numbers thrown around before, and then oh no, that was completely wrong. It was misspoken. That to me, that's the importance of getting through domain and settlement selection and actually getting the maps in our hands and actually taking a look at it, because supposedly this is going to be the end all be all, and all these different numbers that have been floating around for literally years. We're actually going to take a look at what we plan to play on in this game, right? So we'll stake our flag in the ground literally and be able to plot out where we're going to be. So I mean, it just goes to show how important this event is and how badly we need to get it done.
So I think the confusion with a lot of it is, and this has always been, there's two ways to calculate the size. There's from the top down, so you go from the size of the map divided by kingdoms and then duchies and then counties, and then you get how many parcels it is based on the square area. And then you also have the goat, like from down to up. So you can count both ways, and the numbers don't line up. Because Borney just did 2.7 kilometers by 2.7 kilometers equals 184 parcels per county. But if you go on the
1,846.
math, I'm good at numbers. But if you go on the website, it says 2,300 parcels per county when it explains domains. So now if you take that, you break that down into the square kilometers, that's approximately 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers. So there's differences just based on the up-down calculations. And you have to understand that amongst the 4 maps, there's different land areas, different surface areas between those. So
based on the latest average of 3 by 3, we're still on the short end of the stick, even though we're tied in second place with the largest kingdom on the server.
They did roll the world map size down a while back, because originally the world map was bigger. So then the parcels have always been the same size, but the counties and like the amount of parcels in a county. Oh my God, my cat is in the ceiling. Please don't kill yourself. Please get down. I'm going to go save my cat.
Yeah, I can't relate. I don't have any of those critters, so.
Oh my God.
All right, Mel, so when are you going to get back on stream with us? That's all. We've been doing these streams without you, and people keep asking every episode where you are and when you're going to get back on. It's quite ridiculous, so.
Oh my God. The next time you guys will actually see me will probably be the next live stream we have in June, I think. Because I'm driving out to the West Coast the end of this month, and that'll take kind of a while. So I think I'll actually be driving when the next BBC is. So a little ways away, but hopefully I'll have it all set up and yeah, be ready to go.
Yeah, again, I just want to give Nim all the credit in the world for that image. That was very good. That gives us something to mull over and melt our brain with numbers like we always like to do. So
yeah. And I think, funny enough, as much as everybody is kind of like a little bit down at the moment and everything like that, I think even without domain and settlement selection starting, once that map is released, you're going to get people. It's like it's all going to be forgotten, right? It's like they've got the toy in their hand. It's like everybody will be happy and everything will be good, kind of thing.
So we'll quit pitching a fit at that point.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that once domain and settlement selection happens, our live streams are going to get a little bit more fun. We're going to have a lot more to talk about. We're not going to be pulling these out of our ass like we have been for the last few weeks. But I was joking about this particular episode, and what I wanted to announce the title as is, maps are released live during the BBC. And the reason for that is because obviously we know that's not going to happen, but it builds hype, right? And it gets everybody excited and it gets them to log in and watch the stream. And then we disappoint them when we tell them it's delayed. But everyone should be used to that. Okay, we're done beating up on SBS. But D said no, that was a terrible idea, so we couldn't do that. But D, I don't know if you want to leak any plans, what you have for June. I've been hearing some stuff that you've been talking about with June. We're coming up 10 minutes till the hour here. If you want to leak some of that would be awesome. Because I know you've been working hard on that.
No.
All right, hold it close to the chest. That's fine. Too.
Not gonna leak anything other than we have guests lined up for our June 4th and our June 16th live streams, and should be good streams in each case. One of them might be a little bit of a kind of like oh shit, didn't see that coming kind of thing. So
we got celebrities coming on now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Me and Rim might have to step aside for those.
Oh yeah.
Good shit. Absolutely. Well, you guys got anything else? We're coming up on 52 minutes here. I didn't see a lot of questions in the chat. I know this was supposed to be domain and settlement selection Q&A. I haven't seen a lot of questions. Did
Nobody
I miss anything?
has any questions.
I mean,
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet.
yeah, I've seen a lot of chatter and a lot of people, discussing different things, but nothing of us specifically. So if you guys have any questions for us, please feel free to throw those in the next couple of minutes, and we'll try to get a quick answer out for you. I'm just old dumb hillbilly from Alabama, but I'll try to entertain your questions as best we can. Here's a question on a scale of 1 to... Oh, God.
Isn't that like a prime recruitment tactic? How much freedom do you have on a scale?
On a scale of 1 to North Korea, how much freedom will you instill in your domains? I mean, as long as it's not against the law, right? Don't be a dick. Come to the aid of your neighbor. All that fun stuff. I've been advertising for almost 3 years now. You come be a part of what we're doing, specifically in my county or the Protectorate Duchy of Blood Oak. And I think D is the same, within Blood Oak as a whole, depending on where you fall within Blood Oak, because it's 4 freaking duchies. It's massive what we're doing. As long as you're not being a dick and you're contributing to the community, you're pretty much free to pursue any legal endeavor you choose, So I don't think that's ever been a real concern for us.
I think it's going to vary substantially on the group, though.
Yeah, it depends on where you fall.
Even down to the county level, I think there might be some counties that are going to be really, really strict. And then some where there just may not be any laws at all.
But that, to me, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of like the strictness or the laxness should be at the level of the community that applies to, rather than having it superimposed on them, right? Because neither of them is right or wrong. Some people prefer a strict gaming kind of like environment, and some people prefer a laxer gaming environment. And what we're doing is we're allowing for people to be able to choose and find a place that suits them based upon what they enjoy. If you like kind of like a lot of supervision and being micromanaged and told to be here at 6 p.m. with, a helmet, a weapon, full armor, and provisions for 3 days, that's fine. Other people just want to freelance it, and there's, it's up to them. That's what we're about.
Even
between
in
6 and
business.
7.
In business, the company that I work for, we have like 17,000 employees. And so, people say, I work for so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I work there too. Well, I hate it. Well, where do you work? What section do you work in? Because, most of them are amazing to work for. You just happen to work in a shitty section. Maybe you should try to find something else. Within
Well, that's what they always say.
And
you never leave a job, you leave a boss.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we'll see a lot of that in COE as well. You'll have different sections that align more closely to your ideals than the county next door. So you might not want to live there.
Yeah, I think you'll see big jumps in like personality from like one county to the other, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, because a lot of them are groups or existent groups, like at least within COE, and they have this like formation of, we're gonna sell sand. I don't know.
All right, guys. Alex, Mel, we appreciate you joining us. You guys had anything you want to close out with?
No, I'm really good. I'll be excited to jump on as soon as I can, but it was definitely fun, at least rocking up as an audio guest.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. And, I couldn't invite you along without bringing Alex, so we had to let him tag along too.
Oh, thanks, Nas.
All the feels.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for us. Check us back here in 2 weeks. We will be having another episode of our Duchy, Blood Oak Duchy live stream next week. Is it next week? No, it's not.
It should.
It's next
No.
week, next Thursday.
Next Thursday? I don't know.
Yep.
D makes me stream so
It's
much
not-
I can't even keep up with it anymore.
It's not this week, it's the week after. It's
Yeah.
alternate weeks.
Yeah,
Thursday.
hopefully this will be like Domain and Settlement Selection Part 4.
Yeah, and normally that stream is particularly for our Dutchy stuff, but I think since we'll have so recently gotten a hold of the maps, we won't be able to help but talk about that. So check us out there as well. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. Appreciate all our guests that showed up tonight. Pretty good turnout, and we'll see y'all next time.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Ooh.